Okay, so here we are live once again with another DC Multiverse unboxing. And this is one of those Mcfarlane collector editions. You know what that means? That means it was overpriced. But it's the Clock King. I actually got him on the Mcfarlane website, so I don't think he was too expensive over there. Like, not more than usual. I've seen the prices on these collector editions go up by like about $5. But I guess since like he's an older one, it didn't really affect that too much. But I did get Kite Man today, so that'll be one that we'll be talking about at some point in the future. And dang it, that's not working. Where was the thing that I used last time? Did I put that back over here? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about Clock King, and TWD Lover says, "Hello, remember me? I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So you're back. Good. Glad you're back. All right. So this character is one of three characters that are named Clock King, two of which are Batman villains. This guy technically isn't, but he kind of is. I mean, he appeared on the Batman Brave and the Bold cartoon. That version was certainly based off of this version. So this is the one from the comic book. This is a villain of Green Arrow. Now there is a villain, a Batman villain known as Clock King on the 1966 Batman television series, and I opened a figure of him a while back. This is not the same character. A lot of people think it's the same character, but it's not. Does he look anything like this character? No, he sure don't. So there was also this guy from Batman the Animated Series. Remember him? Temple Fugit, aka the Clock King. This is not the same character either. So I got this recently off of eBay. That is an old Justice League Unlimited figure. So unfortunately, since it is since it is based on the Justice League Unlimited version, he doesn't have the hat or the cane to make it a little more distinct. TWD Lover says, but they both have clocks. Yeah, they do both have clocks, and they both are called the Clock King. But all three of these guys are called the Clock King, but they're all three completely different characters. A lot of people seem to think that they're all the same character, but they're not. So we're going to get into talking about who this guy is once I get him opened up. Because I figure they're probably going to talk about some of that on the trading card. But this, to me, I believe that that's the artwork that came off of the Who's Who entry on this character back in the 1980s. I like the way that the face of the clock looks kind of like an angry face. You know, like the the hands of the clock could be like eyebrows, and it's got that kind of suggestion of a mouth underneath it. Which one is the real one? I don't know. Like, how do you define the real one? Which one? Which one? My favorite, I think, is this guy. Is Temple Fugit. That'd be the one I think is the coolest character. I think this was the one that appeared first, I believe. Let's check the old internet. Let's work the Google on the internet machine and see if we can figure that out. So and my computer is kind of slow, so give me just a minute here. Uh Clock King DC. So I believe that this is the one that came first. This comic book version is the one that came first, but I could be mistaken. We're gonna look it up and check. No, I don't need content generated by AI. I just want to go to Wikipedia because I'm pretty sure that'll give me enough of an overview. And then I got to kind of manipulate around where I got uh, my phone set up here to do this. So yeah, Clock King is the name of three supervillains appearing in American comic books published at DC Comics. So they definitely got that right. The first Clock King debuted in World's Finest Comics number 111, created by France Heron and Lee Elias. And this guy is a Green Arrow villain, by the way. So let's go ahead and open him up. I do believe that this version of Clock King, this particular character did appear on the Arrow television series, but I don't remember for certain. So there's the figure stand, and it's the only thing that's on the back here. And this is back when these came with well, he doesn't really have powers. He's just kind of a guy who's obsessed with clocks. You know, not all these villains have powers. Some of them are just kind of like weirdos in funny outfits. But there's the figure stand, matte black figure stand with a silver DC logo embossed onto it. But yeah, I don't believe he has any sort of superhuman powers whatsoever. He's just a guy in a funny outfit. All right, so there's a trading card, and we got the same piece of artwork that we had on the back of the figure package. And there's the trading card. That's what that looks like. Oh, and it comes with the figure stand or the trading card stand. Since it's like an older one, they were still coming with those trading card stands at the time. And it reads Clock King, data file, real name William Talkman. See, this guy is Temple Fugit, and this guy is Morris Tetch. According to the Batman 66 comic book, he is the brother of Jervis Tetch, aka the Mad Hatter. And hey, I found my X-Acto knife. That makes me happy. All right, so William Talkman. The Clock King was considered to be a third-tier supervillain by authorities thanks to his lack of superpowers, yeah, see, and his weird fixation with clocks. Born the aptly named William Talkman, the Clock King commenced his criminal career after doctors incorrectly diagnosed that he had been struck down by a fatal disease and only had a short time to live. Determined to make every second of the rest of his life count, he executed a string of clock-themed robberies as the Clock King. Talkman's overall goal was to steal enough money so that his disabled sister would be well cared for after his death. Well, that's sweet of him, isn't it? So, but yeah, he ran afoul of Green Arrow and became an enemy of the Emerald Archer. Not an enemy of Batman. He did not. He was not an enemy of Batman, at least not at first. They did do the Clock King character on the Batman television series, which has the distinction of being the episode that was written by Batman's true creator, Bill Finger, and also the one where they go to the diner and have the drive-through and have the Bat Burgers, medium rare. Ew, medium rare burgers. So yeah. So okay, so I believe that this guy uses most of the kind of Nightfall Batman buck, but he does have a different torso that has straps over the shoulders, and I believe that that was the one that was used for Catman, which unfortunately I don't have Catman, so I'm only speculating on that. But I believe that that's where that torso came from originally. Why they gave him straps on the shoulders, I have no idea. So let's go ahead, and since I found my X-Acto knife, I'll use that to cut the rubber tabs holding this guy in the package. And it looks like he just has the one about the torso. So let's go ahead and pop him out of here. And Clock King's mask almost looks kind of like a scuba mask that he repurposed. And you see he's got like mostly a cyan blue costume with some very light green cape and cowl, gloves and boots and trunks and belt. He's got clocks all over his outfit. So that's a lot of decals they had to put on that, a lot of tampography, a lot of paint applications, however you want to phrase that. And the forearms are definitely new because each of his forearm has a wristwatch. So that's nice. And it's funny to me that all these clocks are set at different times. So he's not obsessed with any one particular time, but he is obsessed with clocks. And he's got a wired cape, so that's nice. And it flares out about like that wide. So it's a pretty large wired cape. Not the biggest I've seen, but probably about as big as your average Batman action figure. But they did a nice job matching the clock face. Now there is a platinum edition of this figure, which I believe is based on his appearance on Batman the Brave and the Bold. William Talkman did appear on Batman the Brave and the Bold. He appeared on episodes, oddly enough, like you might expect, that featured Green Arrow, since he's a Green Arrow villain. But since it's a Batman show, at some point we saw his mask pop open when he got punched in the face, and the face underneath looks suspiciously like this guy. So it's almost like they kind of combined both these versions of Clock King together. But his costume was more similar, like I said, to this version of Clock King. But even then, they kind of did this thing where even though it was still like a spandex supervillain type outfit, it was more made to look kind of like a 19th century king with like almost like a kind of military dress uniform type of a. It was a really cool design. I liked it, but I think the platinum edition was more based on that Brave and the Bold design. So anyway, William Talkman, more William Clockman, says TWD lover. Yeah. So Clock King can look up about that far, which is excellent range of motion as far as looking up. He can look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around to the shoulders. And he's got those cool Mcfarlane butterfly joints. So you got some wiggle room there. Got double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion we get at the elbows. Of course, he's got the cool Mcfarlane wrist articulation, so you can move his wrists around any which way you want to. There does not seem to be an articulation where you can rotate his glove, which is too bad, because I would kind of like for him to be able to look at his watch. He can kind of look at it, but it's still the watch face is kind of turned more towards you than it is towards him. But he looks really impatient here, doesn't he? Get on with the review, he says. All right. So he's got the cool Mcfarlane torso articulation. So you got some wiggle room there. And of course, the torso rotates all the way around where the rib cage meets the abs and where the abs meet the trunks. But it does seem like it's a little tight, this joint here. But I got it to rotate all the way around. It's cool. He's got those light green trunks. And these do look a lot like the same trunks that you see on Batman, but it's different because it's got this different belt piece. I think that they just put a different belt piece onto this trunk each time. So I think that's probably what they do with these. Anyway, Clock King can kick up about that far, and he's apparently double jointed. He's got some, I don't think the knee's supposed to move that way. Does have a little bit of wobble here. Not a full rotation, but enough you can get some good posing out of it. He's got double jointed knees. That's about the range of motion you get at the knees. No boot cut, but he does have the cool Mcfarlane ankle articulation. So the ankle rotates all the way around where the ankle meets the shin and where the ankle meets the foot. And then Clock King can point his foot down about that far, point his foot up about that far, and he's got toe articulation just to show off. So yeah, pretty cool figure. He does come with two accessories, which are these two clock hands, and we can place each of those in his hands. There we go. So those work almost like swords. And if you wanted to, I suppose you could grip them just like like that, but I'd prefer to just kind of put the loops into his hands. So yeah, despite there being three villains technically that are named Clock King, people tend to think of them all as being the same guy, but they're not really. So we've addressed that already. Now, personally, like I said, I like the Temple Fugit version best, but I'm a huge Batman the Animated Series fan, so that shouldn't be any surprise at all. But the exposure that the Fugit version got on the animated series has led to a little bit more popularity for this guy, and I think that that's cool because I think this guy's a pretty cool character in his own right. He's got he's kind of like I said, goofy Silver Age character, but I like goofy Silver Age characters. I think they're a lot of fun. Not every villain needs to be a serial killer. Some villains can just be a guy who likes to wear a lime green jumpsuit and try to outsmart your hero by asking him riddles. He doesn't need to be the Zodiac killer. He just needs to be a guy who just wants to outsmart the hero. And Clock King is, like I said, he's not even really that bad of a guy going by his first story. I'm sure they made him crazier later and had him doing horrible things later. But I kind of like the idea of this guy just wanting to make sure that in the little time he's got left, he's got enough money for his little sister to be taken care of for the rest of her life. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the Clock King. I'm pretty happy with how this figure turned out. but I don't know if he really needed to be a collector edition figure. Like, I kind of feel like most of these so-called collector edition figures are kind of overpriced, and this guy probably could have just been a standard figure if he didn't have the trading card stand. But we'll talk more about that when I open up Kite Man. Yeah, Kite Man's coming. I got Kite Man. I got several more figures of Batman. My figures are supposed to come tomorrow. My latest order from Mcfarlane Toy Store, which is going to have the Troika Batman and the red, black, and gold version of Asbats, the Kenner version, we should say, and the Batwing figure. So I'm probably going to open up Batwing and this Batman I got back here for the longest time, the Future State Batman, because I think that those are the same character. I don't know. I haven't read comics in a while, but I think that they're both supposed to be Luke Fox. I'll look into that. So anyway, but that's it for the Clock King. Hope you enjoyed the show. Next episode, what should I open up next episode? I don't know. We'll see when that package gets here. If it gets here, I might open up one of those 3 figures tomorrow, and if not, I might open up something else. But if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about the Clock King and what you think is the definitive version of the villain. Which of the 3 Clock Kings do you think is the best version? And like I said, I kind of lean more towards the Temple Fugate version myself, but man, this guy made for a cool figure. He's nice and eye-catching, and I like the way he turned out. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.